Algiers formed roughly around 2012 when we released our 7-inch Blood on Double Phantom, which is a local Atlanta label at the time. We were living in different countries and different cities, but we actually met a lot earlier. Lee was in a band that I loved when I was a kid, and they used to always play sort of hardcore matinee shows, and I would just be quite enamored with his playing and his ability to turn what was expected out of punk rock on its head. And Frankie and I met in school, and we had a shared love for politics and rap music, and at some point in time we decided that maybe we would try to do something different than what we had done before. And I remember in 2012 just hearing Blood and Lee adding the guitar on it and us working on the beat. It just all came together and coalesced as a band and as a sound. The name Algiers has many different roots and sources. I wanted to have a concept for a band before the music even came forward. And I really wanted to represent something that recalled the old, specifically political internationalism of third cinema and anti-colonialism, and generally Marxism, and how we could potentially represent that in a completely new paradigm, in a completely new style of music, and something that would really represent a space or a goal and a place to get to. And Algiers as a city was always the heart of international anti-colonialism, and it really represented a sense of other place that encouraged freedom and freedom of thought and expression and of the future. And I think that in itself encapsulated a lot of the concepts and ideas that I was hoping we could potentially get across in the band. When we formed the band Algiers, I didn't actually ever expect to visit or go to the country or the city itself, because it was something that wasn't necessarily culturally specific. It was much more something that's representing futurity, and also how we resuscitate some of the ghosts from the past and implement them in this really dreadful, ghastly political situation. Last year, the band was actually invited to perform in Algeria, and the new movement broke out early 2019 and really shook the political establishment. And we still wanted to go, but the avenues for actually performing in Algeria at the time were quite limited, given the exciting upheaval that was taking place. I still was able to go and visit, and I participated in the protest, and it was one of the most visceral, amazing experiences I've ever witnessed. Hundreds of thousands of people on the streets, marching, chanting, singing for freedom, and I was right there with my friends Mohammed and a whole crew of people. For them, it was their first political protest, and for me, obviously, it was my first protest outside of the UK and the United States, and it recalled all the different ideas and thoughts I had in my head when we first founded the band, and really was so poetic because Algeria and Algiers itself has so many monuments to the revolution and to the actual film. Ali Lapointe has a statue there. We visited his grave. We met with people who had actually served and fought in the FLN against the French, and it was an experience that you can't really put into words. So one of the most exciting experiences was actually meeting Sadiq Youssef, who produced the Battle of Algiers and who was the main person who pushed the whole project forward. And he was also the leader of the FLN in Algiers itself, so he had revolutionary experience and also film experience. And sitting with him for a number of hours talking about our band and talking about the revolution and talking about also where things potentially went wrong when the revolutionary movement ossified was a moment I'll never forget, and it's something that hopefully the rest of the band members will be able to experience too, because we've been invited to go back. And just the idea that people in Algeria expressed such camaraderie and such solidarity with me and vice versa was something that I didn't fully expect, but it's something that I'll cherish forever. Algiers represents struggle to me, and that encapsulates protest and lament. Because all political movements will ultimately fail. But that's not something that necessarily should lead to depression or hopelessness. It's something that actually should engage us in the here and now and encourage us to fight for the moment and fight for the future. And of course that comes with a very serious sadness that whatever you hope to achieve might not happen, but you still have to hold on to it and you still have to push forward, otherwise there's no point in living.